Here we go. All right.
Welcome in, welcome in. It is Thursday.
Woo!
Thank you, Lord.
It's been one of those days, right?
Yeah, it's been one of those days.
It's been one of those days.
It's been a week. It's been one of those weeks.
It's been a week, yeah. I think that's something that we all have going, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
At some point, you definitely have that life.
Yeah, and being able to navigate through that. And,
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely so.
And what's the word? Compartmentalize and push through.
Yeah, definitely, and still show up the next day.
Yeah. Because it's important to get the job done.
Yeah, the job has to get done. And oh my God, I think I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably was something you said on Impact Tuesday, or it could have been something you said on a prayer call, but it was pretty much like saying that, and I'm going to, of course, shorten this up, but as far as like, talking yourself out of leaving work or something of that sort, I want to say it was along those lines and stuff like that. So a lot of us, coming back from Labor Day weekend and all that stuff, and it just felt like we were thrown in Tuesday. I don't know, the weekends already go fast, but it felt like we were just thrown in Tuesday, and thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, thank God.
I'm just saying, thank God.
Right. That God is kind enough that He got us through the week.
Absolutely.
And it's moments like this that I am grateful for, I guess, how I was raised, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, I came from a family unit where it didn't matter. The assignment had to be greater.
Yeah.
And with you, you are you have a strong background education wise in dealing with humanity.
Yes.
And the psyche of individuals in sociology.
Yeah,
I think we just talk about that in the car.
Yeah, we definitely did.
And how I think the generation that I came from or that I come from, we were taught to work. It didn't matter if you had a cold, you went to work. If you was, tired, you went to work.
Yeah.
But there's an element now that we're learning about. It's called self-care.
Definitely.
One time I thought that was the devil.
What do you need to do all that for? But being, actually being in that framing of when it actually became extremely popular or more of a demand on it, definitely was, of course, around Allen University time, and in that setting, you're a college student and you realize the importance of self-care.
Right. Hey, Sheila. Yeah.
Oh, hey. You realize the importance of self-care and what it means and what it actually means and what it does for you.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to say that, I can see.
The dynamic pieces, because, today will make the year that we were in service. Actually, we were in service the 7th. It would have been yesterday.
Okay.
And we worshiped the Lord. As a matter of fact, I had just got finished recording Unlimited Love.
Oh, yes.
By the way, if you don't have that, so stand the shame at this point.
Go get it.
I had just got finished. Me and Annalisa, the song was done.
Yeah.
I think the song was done way back when the pandemic came in.
Okay.
But because of all the nuances of the pandemic, we had to try to figure out how we're going to get in the studio and how we're going to, And so me and Annalisa got into the studio that day on the 7th. And we had actually met in person for the first time.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
And we had a ball. And we got in there and she laid her track. And then, I laid my track first.
Yeah.
And then she came in and did her piece.
Right.
I was there with her. And after she left, I redid it.
Okay.
So that I could kind of, whatever, and see how close we were, And so we went to church and we had a
beautiful time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe we worship 90% of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just, now, I mean, that almost sounds like an every week service for us, right?
Yeah,
but that day we just worship. And I sung.
Yes.
Oh,
that was very exciting.
Yeah, interesting. I
like-
sung and sung and sung. And we worship. And then I ministered. And on my way home, my producer sent me the song with me and her voices on it, and a version without her voice. I mean, version with her voice.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, from Columbia Impact all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, to my driveway, I played Unlimited Love.
Wow.
The song ain't nothing but 3 minutes and 40 something seconds.
I'll do the math.
I mean, for a 3.5 hour drive, I drove listening to that song. For whatever reason, it was therapeutic. It was relaxing. And this was during the time where we still get out kind of late at Impact. But we got out like 11, 12 o'clock, which meant that I was literally going to get into Atlanta 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I kept playing the song, It's finished to me, and I got home. And right when I pulled up in the driveway, September 8th, 3 o'clock in the morning or so, my cousin called me. And she said to me, my daddy's not here. And I was baffled, because I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Your daddy, your daddy ain't nothing but in his 60s. What are you talking about? He's fine. He just preached. What are you talking about? My daddy's going. And that's when I learned about the man who played a huge role in my ministry and in my life, and really taught me some values that we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, that's exciting.
And so today will make year 1 of my uncle going home to be with the Lord. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to and you're going to help me. Now, what you don't know about me and Jokyra's relationship, she is my licensed therapist. And so we're going to talk through, and I am willing, if you guys would please share, and invite some people in. I'm going to have a honest, in-depth conversation with Jokyra. And she's going to do what she does best. Sometimes I think it is important to have someone in your life that is a safe place that you can.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Somebody you can confide into, and knowing that what is said there stays there, and also that you know it's going to come from the heart.
Yeah.
And it's not going to come from the heart to where like, oh, you're my friend, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, but from the heart, like, I care about you and I'm noticing X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. And so let's see.
That's exciting.
One of the first things I learned, let me make sure I did something here. One of the first things I learned from my uncle was never be impressed with the title on your name. He said to me, the devil does not care about what they call you. He only cares about the territory that you've been assigned to.
Wow.
Watch over or manage.
Wow.
And so, here at Impact, manage the moment is really a big thing.
Absolutely.
And so now that statement really reigns supreme. Right. That the devil doesn't care about how powerful the service is, doesn't care about what they call you, doesn't care about your accomplishments. He cares about the territory. And then he asked me this question. He said, you're telling me that God is calling you to be this, but how much land or territory has the enemy stolen from you while you're being consumed with trying to convince someone that you are who you say God said you are? That the reality is
Wow.
that what's the use of having the title
Yeah.
if there is no words? What's the use of having the title if there is no fruit, no
Yeah.
maturing of
No
I think
progression.
progression. Yeah, we were in the car earlier. We were talking about some things about a certain blessing that happened,
Yeah.
and you said something that just made me go, she got it. You know? You started talking about, oh yeah, I'm really gonna pay attention to the things I can do to keep the maintenance up, to maintain. But not only is there an element of maintaining that's important when it comes to the things that God has blessed you with,
Right.
but that there's also an element of progression.
Definitely.
Right? I think we get caught up in trying to maintain our youth. We get caught up in trying to maintain the glory days. You ever been to the family barbecue?
Yeah.
And there's that uncle.
Yes.
He's still in 1975 with his HBCU shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Now you,
sir. Let's see.
Yeah. He hasn't maintained and progressed. He's trying to maintain what was.
Yeah.
Sometimes we waste energy on what used to be.
Definitely.
And he taught me not to rest on where God was, but always have an eye and an ear for where he is.
Because he's not there no more.
Right.
He's not there no more.
Come on now. How many times how many of us still in love with things that is literally, it's over? But here you is holding on to how they used to make you feel when you was English, right? Yeah. We kill ourselves and we kill what the progression of God is in our lives because we are hooked on what used to make us feel. Right. Because we want an emotional high. We want this euphoria, this memory of what it was. When the reality is that's over with.
Wow. Because the reality is that it's so much more.
Yeah.
And as you stated, being stuck there and God is not at that place anymore. You get stuck there and you become content with what was there. And how can God expect you to continue to move forward with, okay, you've been blessed, take your blessing, promote your testimony for his glory and move forward.
Yeah, move forward. There was a me I would have never known had I stayed attached to the title. And had he not given me that conversation, son, nobody cares about what your title is. Nobody cares about your accomplishments.
Right.
Why are you falling into your own press?
Yeah.
Who is God calling you to be?
Yeah.
Where are you going? Talk about that last week, your journey of faith. Are you moving?
Yeah.
I watch friends and I watch certain things. Even when it comes to preaching, I don't preach the same way I used to preach. Now, when your DNA is your DNA.
Yes.
Can't change DNA.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah, but here's a very good example. And I wish I would have had because we would have put it up for everybody to see. The kindergarten picture.
Yeah.
The fifth grade picture.
Yeah.
8th grade picture. Senior year picture. Freshman of college. Senior year of college.
Right.
Tell me.
All different.
Could you imagine graduating college or having your first child dressed like the first day of school in kindergarten? That's crazy. I believe I taught this one time in Sunday school. that you are no more you now than the you will be in the future. That the seed is the tree, although the tree is the seed.
Wow.
And so, but okay.
No,
okay. But so the DNA doesn't change.
Right.
Who you become, how you develop in that, right? Is what we're talking to. And if I'm honest, through the years, I began to understand it better that there was ground that the enemy stole from me.
Yeah.
Because I was too busy enjoying where I was. Wow. I was too busy caught up in what they said about me.
Yeah.
I was watching TBN some years ago, and Kurt Franklin was talking about getting lost in the fame.
Yeah.
He said he was getting out of the car. He had his family. I'm paraphrasing the story, maybe a little off, but let's just extrapolate the principle. Yeah. He got out the car, and people began to swarm him. And he had his children with him. And he was so caught up in taking pictures and signing autographs and giving interviews that he never noticed his children got lost in the crowd. Ooh. What are we losing giving into the crowd? Now we can if we define the crowd, we can define it partying. We can define it churching. We can define it gossip. He say, she say, insecurities, fears, shame, anger, right? Because some of us are making transitions, right? I mean, the whole world is in transition, but definitely from children to young adult to adulthood, from being a parent. I was telling my mom today, I'm a parent. They're not babies anymore. They want to go to the football game. Yeah. I need to drive them and drop them off, right? We're going through transitions, new jobs, new careers. We were going through all of this, but we can't allow the transition that cause us to lose who we are because we're caught up in the I call it the scrappets of the results of what God is doing. Because just because my church grows from 5 people, I told y'all before, it started with just me hoping the girls. Now to have over 200 members, now to be responsible for more than one congregation, my life is completely. But I can't lose myself in all that. All of that means nothing to me. Because I'd rather know Christ and him suffering, know him in his crucifixion, know him in his resurrection. Paul talks about it. All that what I have, I count it as nothing, just to know him, just to be where he is. And so, Michael, you can't get caught up in the title, can't get caught up in the position, you can't get caught up in the financial prosperity, you can't get caught up in the status, you can't get caught up in the gossip or the spiritual warfare and the attacks and the emotional withdrawal. You can't get caught up in that because that's not what the devil is after. The devil is after your possession. What is your assignment? If you're in the door, then why you're in the door? Now, we just talked about that, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Did you get the job? Okay, then why are you there? Do you? I don't know. The other thing he taught me.
Oh, wow. Are y'all sharing?
Take your break.
Take y'all a share break and share because this is blessing us.
Yeah.
This is blessing us.
Let me say too that you would definitely want to be prepared to be with us tomorrow in Atlanta, Georgia.
Come on.
At the intensive 2020.
Super excited. Super excited. And congratulations on this. This is going to be really big. It's going to be big.
It's oh my God. I am just.
It's almost like Christmas.
Right. I'm all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much to do, little time.
Yes.
I checked the registration, I think today, and we're almost at capacity.
Ooh, yes.
I think it's like our number was 300-400.
Yeah.
Looks like we might hit 700 to 1,000.
Come on.
So I am excited about it.
This is exciting.
You do not want to miss it. Bishop Michael A. Blue, Jadard Carpenter, Hope McCants, and we just added Morehouse, the King's Chapel Gospel Choir.
Oh, it's about to be.
It's going to be
this is
all day long.
Fun. Yes.
All day long. 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 7:30.
Oh yes.
Check the video out.
Check it out. Check it out.
God gave you everything that you need to fulfill what he placed in you. He even says it like this. He says, I've given unto man, I've given. If you shout, you'll dance. If you shout, you'll dance. If you shout, you'll run. If you shout.
Of a horrible pit, he snatched me out. Of a horrible pit, he snatched me out.
The cry of my heart is more of you.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I'm just also just really just excited to hear another principle that your uncle shared with you.
Yeah. So he had this thing that he would talk about vision, and he was a person that never saw it. He was a faith preacher. He never saw it as it was.
Yeah.
He always saw it by what he saw in the spirit. Now, this is me right here. I taught y'all this a couple of weeks ago. Faith being the conviction of the reality, being persuaded by the conviction of the reality that God is. He was a man that lived that life.
Yeah.
He had this statement that he would make. It was, if your vision don't scare you, then it's not big enough.
Ooh.
He said you need a vision that you can't do. It will require help.
Yeah.
But most importantly, God.
Definitely.
Now we're not talking about goals.
Yeah.
We're talking about vision.
Yeah.
Goals are measurable steps into the vision.
Exactly.
Things that you can do.
Yeah.
It's
Work on credit.
Yeah. Save money. Prepare to be a wife or a husband, right?
Yeah.
These things are measurable, but the vision can't be accomplished by your own ability.
Absolutely.
It has to be done by the Spirit of God.
Absolutely.
He said to me that you have to learn that you must walk with God.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't walk against him. You don't work against him. He will say, Michael, every idea is not a God idea. You need God's idea.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ.
And that's a prayer.
Yeah.
That's a prayer.
Yeah. I don't need what I feel is right.
Yeah.
I need what God says is right. And this is such a powerful narrative because now it takes my life out of my hands. It takes it. Yeah.
Not my will.
Yes.
Not
yes.
my idea.
Yes.
Not. Yeah.
Father, is this what you want?
Yeah.
Then I will pursue. Right? We spin our wheels trying to keep everything in our hands, in our control, not realizing that it's not about what we can do on our own, because what we do on our own is the work of flesh. And flesh does not please God. What we can do on our own will never come to anything because it's not on a firm foundation. With man, nothing is possible. But with God, all things. My pastor used to say sometimes you just need to mix God into the equation.
Oh, yeah.
And watch it go a whole lot better. See, the reason why you stressed out, the reason why you at your wits end, the reason why you're back against the wall, the reason why you're doing everything in your own power. And how you know is because you start running from person to person to person. Well, what will you do? What do you think? I need this. I need that. When the reality is, you have to run out of everything before you realize I need God. He is my bread and butter. He is the source of everything that I may need. Therefore, I can't afford to make anything else the source. Because when everything else becomes the source, I'll always come up empty-handed. But when he is the source, my cup runneth over. Your vision has to force you into a prayer life. If your vision isn't big enough, if your vision doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. Because you should be so intimidated by it that it forces you on your knees.
You want God in this equation. You want him in that vision.
It forces you to pay your tithes. It forces you to live a life that's pleasing to him. Because you understand what you see can only be attained by what he manifests. And if you can see him, if your perspective, when you see your perception and your perspective aligns itself. I wish I could really think of a good example. You ever saw one of those pictures? You probably saw it when they got the little painting. They tell you to look at it. And then you have to see, right? And you look at it and see a cup.
But you look and see something.
I see a rat, and you look at it, you see a woman's face, right? But each thing, your perception or what you come to the conclusion of the reality of something is based upon what you see. But when you look at it through God's eyes, then you see it for what it was created for.
Absolutely. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also important not to tell everyone what you see, what God has showed you. Because now their perception is in there. It's a whole different view.
Right.
Different viewpoints. I like that.
Because you have to remember that insight or sight comes from God. Right? And God chooses how he will and when he will reveal himself. So when he reveals himself, he revealed himself in the measure in which you could gravitate or grab hold to who he was or who he is. And then there's elements where he reveals himself and you're not sure. But each sight throws you into a journey of adjustment and alignment. Because it causes you to be straightened by the reality of what he showed. He called me to preach. That when I saw that, y'all, I got that at 5 years old. It governed my entire life. Now,
That's amazing to know that getting that vision at that young could have that effect.
yeah.
On how you.
It helped my process of thinking. There was things that I did that I wasn't perfect, but there was things I stayed away from because I knew God was going to use me. There was conversations I didn't allow myself to be in because God was going to use me. Now, had I taken the time to submit myself to the full water division, I would have learned things of preparation. Let's talk about this right here, where the vision shows you the end. But when you pay attention to what the vision shows you, it whispers to you the steps that needs the I's that need to be dotted, the cross T's that need to be crossed in order for me to walk in the full manifestation of that. I couldn't stop preaching because I misinterpreted the text. I had to keep preaching by studying more. I had to learn better study mechanisms. I had to learn financial principles. I had to learn that you can't pastor the same way when you have 5 people versus when you have 50 people. I had to learn that the seasoned saint narratives is a different dynamic than my middle age, than my young adults, than my children. Everybody in the room has a story, but I have to be able to evaluate the room in order to be able to let one message minister into multi-generations. Color barriers. I have to allow myself. That don't come by spirit alone. That comes from me recognizing cultural differences. It comes from me understanding psychological and sociological narratives. It comes from me being prepared out of the pulpit. So when I stand before you, the anointing can sit on my preparation and allow me to walk in the manifestation of what I saw when I was 5. See, walking in what you see don't come just because you see it. Walking in what you see comes through preparation. That's why the vision needs to intimidate you. You need to feel not worthy enough. So it will cause you to get the education, to get the mentorship, to get to get the insight, to learn the nuances of what it takes to stand in the room. Watch this. You got to learn the nuances without being offended by your immaturity in the door. I'm sorry. We're supposed to be talking to each other. But I can't, every time I stood to preach and I was not spiritually mature, or I was immature, or I was me standing in the room with men like Charles McDowell, Michael Blue, Tony McElveen, Chester Hawkins, Lawrence Downey, Laverne Williams. When I stood in those rooms, it made me feel like my sermon was not well enough, that it wasn't adequate enough, and it's not in a tear down narrative, but it made me realize, oh, Michael, you could have saw the text a little deeper. Oh, Michael, you should have prayed a little bit more on that. Oh, Michael, you can't wait 2 days before the day to preach, prepare the message. Oh, Michael, you don't need to study for a sermon. You need to study the word. You need to understand the hermeneutical process. You need to know how to bring meditation and word search and systematic theology and contextual historical background. You need to pull all of that so that you can extrapolate an idea that doesn't come out of your spirit alone, but comes through your intelligence out of your spirit. Does that? I mean, Go ahead, then.
I was gonna say, even in a counseling or whatever type of setting, you would want to describe that in the self-evaluation, like evaluating thyself, like how did I handle this situation? or I could have been better with giving advice, or I could have not used so much me into my advice giving, or whatever case may be. Like I look at it like on that type of standpoint, and to harm us, like you said, it's not an attack. It's something that is helping you prepare. I should have spent my money better.
You just walked into a new career, and I've been just thinking about it now. But what would it steal from you to walk in another room during another time and watch the teacher? See how she navigates the room.
Yeah.
See how he navigates the room.
Exactly.
Take mental notes. That doesn't diminish you.
No.
It edifies. It builds you up.
Definitely builds you up.
Why? Because are we frozen, guys? Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, it edifies. Listen, I don't watch preachers that I agree with. Well, what I mean by that is I can finish their thoughts as they go. I want to see preachers that I'm wondering,
where is he going to go?
Where is that?
Yeah, where is he going?
Right. When it comes to pastoring, I don't want to talk to people. That's where I am. Now we can be free to navigate, no disrespect, but I want to see what did you do when you got to this point? When you got to this, it doesn't threaten me. It doesn't take away from me. And that's something else he taught me. Yeah. You got to learn how to listen to somebody who's been where you're trying to go.
Absolutely.
How you gonna get to the vision that scares you and you don't have nobody in your life who's already walking in the level of the vision you saw for yourself? That's not logical.
Yeah.
It's not good rationale. If I see myself on a Bishop Jakes level, then I need to be sitting in the International Pastor Leadership Conference.
I need to be
listening to his interviews. I need to find ways that I can get an audience with him, whether it's virtual or in person or whatever the storyline. I need to be in the room so I can understand how he thinks. I remember one time, I never thought I could be like a T.D. Jakes, but because he was successful, I wanted to understand how in the world could he navigate so many worlds. And he said something in an interview that you wouldn't have gotten in the sermon. He said to me, I learned to have teams around me.
Yeah.
And my teams are the geniuses in the room concerning that thing. And so whenever there's a problem, my team don't bring me the problem. My team recognizes the problem, discusses the problem, bring the problem to me with solutions. Yeah. So I don't have to be the only brain running the church. I don't have to be the only brain running the entertainment department. I don't have to be the only brain running the music. I don't have to be the only one. Yeah. I learned the power of teams. Now you would have never gotten that in a sermon.
No.
That when I was teaching and doing behavior help, doing behavior interventions, I would read the books and I would go find the authors and see where they were doing conferences. See what they were doing interviews and sit and listen, because they would say stuff that wasn't written in the book.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, that's how I know you want what God showed you. You talking about you bored? Talking about you don't got nothing to do? And you talking about you got a vision for? I don't believe you're persuaded that that's what God wants. Because not only am I going to watch people who were YouTube success, I need to find out and learn the history of Sam Walton and figure out where Walmart came from and where Sam's came from. I need to figure that out. I need to sit down and learn from Steve Jobs and see how he built Apple. I need to find out who the people from Amazon. I need to dig up Google and figure out, well, what you thinking? What's on your, how did you trend that? How did you?
How did you do that?
I bet you didn't even know that the people who created McDonald's didn't even own McDonald's. They didn't own it no more. They created it, and it was in a recession in the same type of environment we in now.
Woo.
That's for somebody.
That's for somebody. That is.
And what happened was it became popular in the region, in the city. And they were running like a mom and pop shop, but they didn't have the intel or the relationships or the mentorships to take it global. So somebody saw what they was doing, liked their product, realized they didn't have the framework to take it global, brought them out, took McDonald's, and now it's across the world.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
It goes back to territory.
And
They had the territory.
And just think,
And
it's only about what I managed.
Yeah.
Manage my preparation.
Yes. Had I made the relationships, had I had the conversations, that were okay. Then let's go modern. Let's go modern.
Yeah.
Y'all talking trash about Beyonce, but I really would love to have a conversation with her because I want to know what made her believe. I think it was Uber.
Yeah, that she had. Yeah.
That they asked her to come sing, and they told her about the product, and she said, "I tell you what, I'm gonna come sing for free, but you give me a piece of the pie." What in the world? What was clicking in your brain that made you realize that Uber would become a phenomenon? What made you believe? Not if she never sold another album in a day in her life.
Her family is set.
Off of Uber. And then one day she's going to wake up and she's going to see something else. And she's going to sell her shares to Uber and move to something else. Y'all, this is what this man taught me.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
And when you're sold out to your vision, something else he told me, the vision will then begin to work for you.
Yeah.
That there is an element in vision. There's a dimension in vision that you won't have to work the vision. The vision will start working itself. Then there's another place in the vision where not only will it work for itself, but the vision will shape and release commended blessings over your life.
That's good. Ooh.
I don't know what you do with your territory. What you doing with what God gave you. Come on now, right here, you so busy worried about tomorrow. Today, what are you doing with the ground God gave you?
Yeah.
Come on, Laverne Williams put you from the grave tonight. What how are you allowing yourself? He had this other thing he would teach us. And he would always tell us, he would say, it don't take a lot to do much. I will watch this man take small things and do massive things. He had this concept called a penny-like faith.
Yeah.
I think I taught that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. A penny-like faith. You don't need all the faith. You need a portion. He equated it to a penny.
Jesus.
Look at how we treat pennies. We walk over them on the ground. If it falls, it's just a penny. We put no value in a penny. But the reality is, a penny, we don't make $1.
Yeah. You don't need a penny.
You're
gonna need a penny.
I would argue that a penny is more valuable than $1 million check. Because without the penny, you will never get to the million. And so he equated faith to a penny. That all you need is 1 cent towards what God told you. If you could believe enough at a value of a penny, you can watch cancer dry up in your body. His book had testimonies of people who believed in a penny and drove off car lots with their car. brought homes,
Yeah.
right? Lived holy.
Yeah.
How come? A penny. Just to simply believe God outside of yourself. Just to, how much easier is it to say, well, God said it.
Yeah.
I'm going to step out here.
Yeah.
That's what Peter used to get on water. A penny.
That's it.
His faith, watch this. You would argue that your faith begins when you do. But I would argue that your faith begins with desire.
Yeah.
The moment when he saw God, his faith was in action. Because when he saw God, the first thing out of his mouth was, let me do what I see you doing.
Yeah.
If you God, then tell me to come. Right there is the penny faith.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. It starts right there.
How are you starting? How are you starting? Are you starting in fear? You starting in anxiety? Are you starting in loneliness? Are you starting in insecurity? Are you starting looking at what you don't have?
Yeah.
How are you starting? Let me challenge you to pick a penny up and start with the penny.
Start with the penny. That's a testimony for somebody. Yeah. That's going to be a testimony for somebody. I started my business with a penny. I started with a penny. That's beautiful.
Well,
that's beautiful.
I miss him. I miss him, you know?
Yeah.
I could always call him and we would have those type of conversations, you know. As a matter of fact, the last time I saw him, we were talking, and one of his messages was something to the effect of, God is saying the next move is waiting on you. And his sermon topic was, you got next.
That is so powerful.
Yeah. He said he gave us six books of the Bible. Gave us testimony after testimony after testimony. And here we are.
That is so powerful. Waiting
for God. God, if you would. God, would you please? When the reality is, he's waiting on you because God is saying, you got next. That's one of the last things he said before he went home to be with the Lord.
You got next. That's good.
Somebody type that. That we're gonna leave y'all with that.
Yeah, you got next.
What does that mean to you?
See, even and just you saying that now, I'm thinking of how Impact is the members, our members are just expanding. Our status is changing. So once again, you got next. Yeah. Sheena did it. Destiny got next. I got next. Dave got next. Tasia got next. Y'all got next. Mama Hope got next. Everybody got next. And wow. Pastor, that blessed me. That did. It blessed me. It blessed me. Sometimes we get discouraged. Just like, I'm waiting. God, I've been waiting. I've been faithful. I've been waiting. I've been paying my tithes. But the reality is, you got next. Yeah.
I've done all that I was going to do. I've given all that. You got everything you need. I'm waiting on you. Peter started with the penny. If that shoe, let me come. He said, okay, then come. At that point, there was nothing left for God. What was left for him to do? There was nothing left. It was all on Peter. Well then, Peter, what you gonna do? Peter said, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. I know I got next. I'm gonna step out. Yeah. And he stepped out, and God didn't make a fool of him. And God, watch this, because God was on the line.
Mhm.
He wasn't going to let himself be made a fool of.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, had anybody in that boat
Yeah.
grabbed the penny and stepped out, they wouldn't have drowned.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah. You sitting here watching us tonight,
it could be.
and we sitting here talking about the penny and cutting it, and we all stirred up and we about to step out. If you hear some of the testimonies,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you gonna sit there and go, praise God.
Or you go step out.
Or you gonna get out the boat. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
No, you won't drown, because you're gonna remember. It's not about the blessing.
Yeah.
It's not about the moment. It's Peter, you're walking on territory. And in case you do fall, in case you do stumble,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you another chance to reconcile and get the right vision
Yeah.
and align yourself so you can go back, get in the boat. Is that not powerful? We're not supposed to be preaching, but yeah. Those are the things that I learned from him. I've learned from listening. I've learned from watching. Those things have blessed me.
That's truly a blessing to us. Wow. Such an on-time word, too.
Yeah.
On-time wisdom.
Yeah.
For a lot of us.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, all right.
I love that. I love that.
Can you guys share?
Definitely so. Share. We are super excited tomorrow. Pastor, I'm really proud. Oh, that's going to be fun.
Tomorrow is a testimony
Yeah.
of me realizing that I have next. And me stepping out. Most people don't know this, but I carry 3 people with me every time I minister and in decisions that I make. I carry my grandfather, Reverend Eddie Sip. I carry my pastor, Bishop Charles McLeod. And I carry my uncle, Apostle Laverne Williams. Because those 3 men have shaped me in ways that I am who I am, how I pastor, how I preach, how I treat people, all because of what those men have instilled in me. And so I'm fully aware that tomorrow is a cumulation of the promises that God made them, that He's allowing me to walk out on.
Oh gosh, it's so powerful.
Yeah. And
That's
so
powerful.
yeah, so that's why I take ministry seriously. And I'm always on edge about it. Not because I'm under risk, unneeded stress, but I realize that their work will not die with them.
Yeah.
It will live on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I pray one day that the work that I do won't die with me.
Yeah.
That it will live on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
a blessing. That's been a blessing today.
Yeah. I'm glad we did. I'm glad we pressed our way.
Yeah, definitely.
And
So.
I think I got the rejuvenation I needed.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Were you guys blessed? And let me say that the people that shaped your life, that you carry with you in your heart, you are a combination of them. Their life made an imprint on you.
Right.
Therefore, you should embody those things that they taught you that's godly.
Absolutely.
And live them out.
Yeah.
You know, my sister's on here. I even think about my other grandfather, Reverend Chang. My grandpa, he blessed me real good too. Growing up as well, he teased me. He teased me one time by saying, "What's the difference between Lazarus getting out of the grave and Jesus being raised from the grave? What's the difference?" You know, I look like you. Ain't no difference. They both got out the grave. He said, "No, Lazarus died again, but Jesus was resurrected, and he's still alive." You know, I can go all day long.
You got me. You got me.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
That
Well,
was amazing.
well, I pray you all were blessed. I do. And you want to close us out and tell them to share and all that jazz?
Truly, definitely share, you guys. Definitely somebody needed this in our season of changing, transition, and our status changing. So I definitely am grateful for you sharing your uncle's wisdom that he instilled in you, that you are now also like instilling in us. And so we definitely appreciate you and all that you come with. So I mean that in a nice way, of course. all that you come with. But
Amen.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, tomorrow all day, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. You should drive near people. Listen, people are coming actually from all over the place. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, and maybe North Carolina. But they're coming from all over the place. And you do not want to miss it.
Absolutely.
The intensive 2022.
It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, meet us here next week. Same place, same time. And we're about to go into prayer.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do over here at Impact. We pray. And and so here's the prayer information. And the code is 4 zeros, I believe it is. All right. Well, be blessed and have a tremendous night.